Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, if this is the first time you're seeing any of my videos, my name is Erica and I make travel vlogs, lifestyle, and home vlogs here on my YouTube channel. And in today's video, we are recapping our London trip. So we just got back from London literally a week ago, which it feels like it was a while ago, but at the same time, not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Time is weird. But yes, we are back from London, and I've been starting to do little recap videos of my trips just because I find that when I come home, I have more advice, tips, and tricks that I want to give you guys. Of course, as I'm like vlogging while we're traveling, I like to give tips and advice as well. But I feel like once I come home, I can really think about and digest the trip and realize like, oh, like I wish I would have shared this with you or that. So that's kind of what this vlog is going to be. It's going to be a whole recap of our trip. We're going to go through everything we did. I'm going to give you my tips, advice, what to do, what to skip, recommendations, all of it. So if you are maybe planning a trip to London, or if you're just in the mood to hear about London and maybe you're planning a trip in the future, then this vlog is going to be perfect for you. It's going to be a very chatty vlog. We're just going to be chatting away. I have my little tea here. I had to make tea, of course, because we're talking about London, and I had to put it in my new little London mug cup. So I'm very excited to chat with you guys about London. So if you're excited to also chat about London, please give the video a big thumbs up. And without further ado, let's get into it. So first, I don't know if you could tell, but you know, I have my London mug here, but I'm also wearing my new London sweatshirt that I got in London, and I don't know if there's like a glare, but woo, behind me is this little postcard that I bought, and I put it in a little frame, and it currently hangs above my desk, but I wanted to bring it down and put it sort of in the background for the London vlog, because if you can't tell, I loved London. We had such a great trip, and yeah, I wanted to, you know, have all the London things in the vlog here. So what I'm gonna do, and I don't know why I haven't thought of this before, because I feel like this is just gonna be the most easy way to go about this, is I'm just gonna go through my camera roll and kind of just like, you know, see what we did, and also just like give you my tips and tricks, because I used to like sit down and write a whole like notes about like my, you know, what we did this day. Do I recommend? Do I not recommend? Oh, what advice would I give? And that was a lot of work, and I feel like this is just gonna be way more easier and just feel more casual and just like, you know, we're just two friends chatting about London. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through my camera roll. So to start things off, we're gonna chat about flying to London. Now, I flew from Michigan to London. It was a direct flight, which, love a direct flight. And it was about 8-hour flight. And we flew Sunday night at 8 p.m. and arrived in London at 9 a.m. I love these flights. The overnight flights or the red eyes or whatever, like they just feel so quick. They go by so fast, because it's like you get on the plane, they serve you some drinks, then you have your dinner, and then they kind of turn the lights off, and now your belly's all full and you're kind of like getting a little sleepy. I took like a little nap. Like, of course, or me personally, I don't sleep very well on planes, so I took a little nap. And then I feel like I wake up and then they're serving breakfast and we're there. Like, it goes by so fast. Whereas on the way home, not the case, because we had a morning flight. We left at 11 a.m. London time and then got back 3 p.m. Michigan time. But, you know, it was another 7 to 8 hour flight. And I just feel like those ones just don't go by as fast. But I really love those overnight flights. And on this flight in particular, my mom and I, we upgraded to Delta Premium Select on the flight. Now, I've never flown that before. I've flown like first class Delta on domestic flights here in the US, but Premium Select is basically, so it's one tier below the first class when you go internationally. So with Delta, the first class ticket is called Delta One, and those are the little pods where you can like totally lay flat and sleep. Those, I wish I could fly internationally, but they are so expensive. I mean like 5 times, 8 times the price. So we didn't fly that, but we flew the tier below that, which is Premium Select. And then below Premium Select, you have Delta Comfort, which is just a little bit bump up from economy, and then below that you have economy / main cabin. So we were almost to first class, almost to the top, but not quite Delta One. But I did want to talk about that experience a little bit. So I did enjoy it, obviously. I mean, you definitely feel a difference from Premium Select versus main cabin. The big difference is my seat did recline a lot more. I could kind of go like, let's see if I can maybe show you. I felt like I could go like here back, but then really my feet is where I would say was the most difference, because they had a really nice like recliner, so my feet were pretty, or my legs were pretty elevated, and then they had a little footstool too, so that my feet were also elevated, and that was super nice and very comfortable. And then woo, when we got on the plane, and you can see this all in our travel day vlog, so I'll have that linked for you guys as well. But when you arrive, they give you a little menu card, which is nice, just like a little, you know, feels a little more luxurious. They give you a little menu card. They give you a pillow and blanket, which you do get in main cabin, but it's definitely better quality. Like the pillow was definitely a lot nicer. I felt like the blanket was nicer. The pillow was more fluffy as well, and I did use it. I do have like a travel neck pillow, but I used also the other pillow and kind of leaned up against the wall there. So you get that. They do give you a little travel kit that has a toothbrush in it, toothpaste, lip balm, earplugs, and an eye mask. I believe that was everything in the little kit. And then that was kind of, you know, the difference there between main cabin. Again, in main cabin, they'll just give you like a pillow and a blanket. And then some other differences is when you are served drinks, like we had wine, they are going to give it to you in a real glass, not just like a plastic cup. Also, when they serve you dinner, you're going to bring your tray table up, and they're going to give you like a tablecloth to put on. Your plate is going to be like a real plate, real silverware. So it's just a more elevated experience. Also, as I'm thinking about it, we also were given a full water bottle. And I will say, like, you do notice a difference in the service as well. We did have one flight attendant who literally her only job, and she was going between Delta One and Premium Select, so I kind of felt like we were getting a Delta One benefit with that. But what she was doing is she was all about just customer service. She was walking around, she was like, what can I get you, what can I do for you? And she would like keep making announcements like, guys, anything you need, I'm here for you, please ring me. So she wasn't necessarily like, she was definitely a different flight attendant than your regular flight attendants who are serving you your meals and your drinks. She was just really going around for customer service. I mean, she would have gotten you a drink if you would have asked her, but yeah, I thought that was very, very nice. But I mean, it really just depends, because my mom and I were talking about it after the flight, because we did fly main cabin on the way back. And main cabin is still great on Delta. Like, I still love it. You know, you're still getting good service, you're getting drinks and food and all of that. You're definitely not getting a personal flight attendant that's coming around that keeps asking you, what do you need, what do you need? But I don't know, it really just depends on the flight. I'm glad I got to experience it for sure, and it was really, really lovely experience. I don't know if I do it every time. It really will just depend on the price. I'm a smaller person. I'm kind of short, so like the leg room isn't a huge deal for me, or like totally being able to recline. But it was just a more elevated experience. So that's what I'll say about that. If you guys have any other questions about Delta Premium Select though, please drop them in the comments, anything maybe I didn't cover. But yeah, that's just a little bit on our flight there. And then let's chat about London once we actually arrive. So like I mentioned, we arrived in London at 9 a.m. So we had pretty much a full day to explore London. Now, once we got off the plane, I did have a scheduled like transportation service to come and pick us up. I did schedule that beforehand. It was called, I think, Mason and Green Car Service, and I'll have their website linked down below. I really did enjoy them. Now, I don't always do like a prepaid car service when I fly. Usually I'll just get an Uber, especially if it's like, you know, within America, like a domestic flight or something like that. But just because my mom and I were traveling and we knew we were going to be tired after a long day, it was just nice to kind of have that already taken care of for us once we arrived. And basically they just pick you up at baggage claim. They have a sign with your name on it, and they were super nice and friendly. Their cars were really clean, and it is about an hour drive from we flew into Heathrow Airport to London, like the city center. And I think it was about, I want to say it was about $100 for the car service. And I feel like an Uber isn't going to be that much cheaper for an hour-long Uber ride. So again, it's just nice that they're there waiting for you. They'll help you with your bags, and I don't know, it just kind of, it's like one less thing to worry about sort of thing. Again, I don't do it every time, but I did really enjoy the company that we used, so I'll have it linked down below for you guys. And then we went straight to our hotel. Now, of course, our room wasn't ready that early in the morning. I would have loved if it had been, because man, I just wanted to take a shower so bad and like take a quick cat nap because I was feeling so tired. But we stayed at the Royal Horse Guards Hotel, and I very, very, very much recommend this hotel. First of all, the location is perfect. It's located in Westminster, and it's literally walking distance to so many things. It's walking distance to the London Eye, to Big Ben. You could walk to Westminster Abbey from there. Like on Buckingham Palace, we did that. So it's really, really good location. It was a very nice hotel, beautiful lobby. They also had a restaurant there. So some nights when we just were like, I don't know where to eat, we just ate there because it just was so easy to do. And the restaurant, they had this beautiful outdoor patio terrace area, and it was so gorgeous. It literally felt like you weren't even in London or in the city. It felt like you were in this beautiful garden. So I really appreciated that. Our room was also so great. And again, in our travel day / day one, I do a full room tour. I show you more of the hotel, so definitely recommend checking that out. But our room, we had picked a deluxe twin, and it was huge, like especially for a European hotel room, because I feel like when you're in a hotel room in any city, really, they're just very small. This room was so huge. We had this like long hallway, almost like kind of like a living area with 2 reclining chairs, nice beds, high ceilings, which made the room feel even bigger. So I really, really enjoyed this hotel. And again, the service was so great. They were so friendly and nice. I would just recommend it so much. And especially with location, I'm finding that the more places I travel to, picking where you stay matters so much. Like not only for, being close to all the attractions and things that you want to see, but also like just safety wise and like cleanliness wise. Like I know you could save more and stay outside of the city, but it's just, to me, it's becoming more worth it to budget for a better hotel and a better location, especially saving time on Ubers and transportation and all of that. It's just, I love this hotel so much and the location. Pause for a little tea break. I almost forgot my pinkies up. Okay, so like I said, we checked into our hotel. Room wasn't ready, but we still want to go out to explore, so I did change, and then we walked right to Buckingham Palace. Again, it was definitely nice walking distance from our hotel. We didn't have tickets to go inside Buckingham Palace. This is my second time now I've been to London, and I've never done Buckingham Palace. I've kind of heard like mixed things. Like again, you don't get to see a whole lot. So let me know down in the comments if you've done Buckingham and if you definitely recommend it, because I don't know, maybe the next time I go, I will do it. But we just kind of went there to walk around, take pictures, and kill some time, because at 2 o'clock, we did have tickets to the Tower of London. So we did that. We walked around a little bit on Buckingham Palace and St. James Park, took some pictures, and then we hopped on the tube, which if you don't know, that's like London's term for the subway. They call it the tube, which I like better. Like tube versus subway, I don't know. I'm a tube girl, not a subway girl. So we hopped on the tube and went over to the Tower of London. Now, a couple things, let's talk about like transportation and riding the tube in London. I think it is so nice and easy. It's very much the same as like riding the subway in New York, like the same system. You just tap your card or your Apple Pay on the little kiosk. It lets you in. And then I just felt like the maps were so easy, and always beforehand, like before we went down into the tube, I would just like look it up on Google Maps where we're going, and Google Maps, gives you point by point directions, like go to this station, get on this line, make sure it's going west or east or whatever direction, hop on it, get off at this stop. Like it's super easy to do. And I always did screenshot like my Google Maps like directions before going down into the tube, just in case I lost service, because there were times where like there was no service at all down there. So just in case I forgot, like, oh wait, which stop do we need to get off at, I just like to screenshot it on my phone beforehand. So that's a little tip for you. But yeah, tube, super easy to do. I also found it like pretty clean for public transportation. I guess the last time I rode like a subway was in New York City, and I don't know, I saw some things down there, guys, that I can't unsee in New York. But the London tube was really nice, and my mom she doesn't like take public transportation as much. She's never been to New York, so I was trying to tell her, because I was like, no, like this is really nice, like appreciate this, because yeah, again, last time I was in New York, I saw some stuff on the subway. So yeah, we took the tube to Tower of London, where we had tickets for. Definitely recommend getting your tickets in advance. And I love the Tower of London so much. And I wish I had been in a better headspace when I visited this time, because again, I was pretty tired from the flight, because the Tower of London is huge. So it's basically like this old fortress, and they have so many exhibits to explore. You can also go and see the crown jewels, which is super fun to do. And it's very interactive too. Like they had sort of like characters walking around, like pretending they were in the old times and kind of interacting with the guests. And it's a really, really, really awesome experience. The number one thing I recommend is booking a tour guide or booking like some kind of tour and having a tour guide walk you through the Tower of London, just because I feel like if you don't have that, there's so much that you miss. Like you're like, oh, I'm looking at this cool building, but like, you don't know all the history behind it. Yes, they do have like plaques that have like some information about whatever it is you're looking at, but I just always find having a guide just gives you even more of a better experience, because you're just learning so much more, and you can also ask questions. And if you can't tell, I love history, so maybe that's biased, but I just feel like if you're gonna go all this way and look at this historic thing, like, don't you want to know what happened here, what the history is about it? I don't know. I feel like it's worth it to get the tour guide. We didn't do it just because, again, it was our first day and we were just kind of there wandering and exploring around. But yes, I love the Tower of London so much, and honestly, I recommend doing it so much. Like, if there's one thing you do in London, I think it has to be the Tower, because there's so much you get to see just in the Tower of London. And then after the Tower of London, we went back to the hotel where we were able to check into our room. And then we had a pretty early night. We had an early dinner at the hotel, and then I went to bed at like 8 p.m. So that is all we did on our first day in London. And then the next couple days, which I'm sorry, I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but I was actually in London for a social media conference. So the next couple days I was at the conference. So obviously we didn't do much touring during the day because I was at the conference. But on one of the nights, after the conference, I met up with my mom. We went out for dinner. I forget where we went to dinner that night. I think we might have been at the hotel, because then we went to go see a show. And we saw the show called Come Alive. It's the Greatest Showman spectacular show. Oh my God, I loved it so much. I mean, I love The Greatest Showman, but this show was fantastic. And it's not like, because I know right now Disney, I think, is working with Broadway, and they're putting on like a Broadway Greatest Showman show. It's not that. This was called Come Alive, and it was more like an acrobatic, like circus show with also singing and dancing, and they would sing all the Greatest Showman songs, but it wasn't like the storyline beginning to end. So I kind of like that though, because I mean, I love the Greatest Showman music, and then we were watching the most amazing like aerialists and acrobatics and dancers and singers perform, and it was so cool. And I loved seeing the show so much because the venue itself was amazing. I wish we had gotten there a little bit earlier, honestly, because you walk into the venue and it was like the circus literally had come to town. Like they had, like, they actually had like some performers walking around and like kind of interacting with kids. They had like a really cool bar that was like all circus themed. They had props and so much going on, like food booths and stuff, and it was just like, you could have definitely had dinner there. Like, maybe that's, I guess what I'm trying to say is I wish we would have done like had dinner or drinks there or something, and it was so fun. Yeah, it was just, it wasn't like you just walk into a theater and take your seat. Like, it was almost an interactive experience outside the show, and I really loved that. And then yeah, we went into the show, and I was thinking that I wasn't going to be able to film, but they're like, no, you can feel free to take pictures and videos just as long as there's no flash. And they were like, please feel free to sing along and clap and dance. Like, we want this to be a fun and interactive experience. And I loved it so much. I would almost compare it to the Lion King show at Animal Kingdom, honestly. Like, it was kind of that same energy and vibe, and we had so much fun. And I was thinking, I was like, oh, I bet there'll be like a lot of kids here, which would have been fine, but honestly, there was so many more adults. Like, it felt like it was like all adults there. Like, it was like a Disney World. Like, oh, we're all just there being kids and watching The Greatest Showman. And the show was phenomenal, and I recommend it. So, like, definitely do it. Don't skip this. Go see The Greatest Showman show, especially if you love the movie and the music, because you will love this show. It might have been one of my favorite shows I've ever seen. Like, not just in London, just in general. It was phenomenal. So highly, highly recommend the Come Alive show. I'll also have that website linked down below so you can get your tickets and all that. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm just giving you your resources. So yeah, I'll have that link down below. And then let's see. Okay, so then the next day was my last day at the conference, and then all we had planned that evening was a dinner reservation. So I had looked up like online and also on TikTok like some good restaurants in London, and I found this one. It was like the rage on TikTok, and I was like, okay, like let's go try it out at least. So it was called Manteka, I believe, and this is not in any of the vlogs because I did not vlog this day. I'll insert some pictures of our meal here on the screen, but this was in, oh gosh, I forget, it was a different neighborhood, so we did have to take an Uber there, and the neighborhood was very much like a young professionals neighborhood. Like everyone we saw out was like people my age, like getting off work for the day, having a pint at the pub kind of vibe. And so we were laughing because I told my mom, I was like, I think you're the oldest person in this restaurant, because literally everybody was my age in just that whole neighborhood. It was a really cool neighborhood, definitely way more residential, not as many tourists there. But it's an Italian restaurant that we went to, and we started off with a kale salad, and I think it was their like homemade focaccia bread and ricotta cheese, which I don't think I took a picture of the cheese, but oh my god, the cheese was so good. The bread was really good. I did not like the kale salad because I don't like kale. My mom was like, oh, like let's order a salad, and I was like, okay, if you want to, like you can have it, I don't want it. I feel like it was a good kale salad, but just as someone who doesn't like kale at all, it wasn't for me. It was a really, really good restaurant, and then we both ended up getting the same pasta dish, which, man, I'm drawing the blank on it, but I'll put it down here below. It was really good Italian, and the service was really good. The wine was great. It was a very like more kind of modern upscale restaurant, and I really did enjoy that. But that kind of leads me into this next topic about London food, because a lot of people were asking me, how is the food in London? Because people, I think, here mixed things about London. So what I will say now, the first time I went to London, which was about 5 years ago now, that's crazy to say, I was not impressed with the food in London. Now, when I had went 5 years ago, I did not do a lot of research. We were like on a really long like European trip, so we were going to multiple cities, and I just remember we hadn't done a lot of research on London restaurants. We like looked up some and would be like, oh, this one has good reviews, let's go check it out. But I was never wowed by the London food. This time around, I wanted to make sure I did more research ahead of time, hence why we went to this restaurant, because I heard a lot of good things about it, had good reviews. And I also spent a longer time this time in London. We were here for a week. So my overall thought on London food is it's still not the best. It's not, because okay, hold on. Let me gather my thoughts. Sorry, my brain was going like 5 different directions, and I was like, okay, no, I need to like hone this in. Okay. So when you're thinking about traveling, right, and you're traveling to different countries, and you think maybe about places like Italy and Greece, you know, you're very excited about trying the food there. Like Italy, give me the pasta, the pizza, it's amazing, the gelato. When you go to Greece, it's like, oh, the Mediterranean, the fresh fish, all of that. London, okay, like England, English food, you have like fish and chips and pub food and like shepherd's pie and all of that. And I know for me personally, that's not something I ever really crave. Maybe the fish and chips, but like shepherd's pie, no, absolutely not. I'm sorry. Like unless it's like a cold, rainy day maybe, or like a chicken pot pie or something. So first of all, that's like almost where I think London and England kind of get a bad rep for their food, is because you're not like craving that food. Like it's not like, oh my god, I can't wait to go to London and have a shepherd's pie. Like I just don't think a lot of people are really excited about that food. So I feel like, you know, that's unfortunately kind of hurting them in the cuisine market. Now, we did go to an Italian restaurant. Was it as good as the Italian restaurants in Rome? No. Or Italy? No. I've also had better Italian meals in America, but I've also had, I don't know, not as good Italian meals in America. Like it was a good meal. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, London is just like the food that they have is not something that is like really exciting or something that people are really like excited about. And then I do feel like it's just okay. And you really have to do your research on good restaurants. Like, it's not the place where it's like, oh, just pop in like to any restaurant like France or Italy, because like they're all going to be good, and it's not the same. Like, you really should do your research ahead of time, and that's what I did this time around. I don't think I had a phenomenal meal in London, but I didn't have any bad meals this time because I did my research ahead of time. So that would be my biggest advice. I'll put any of the pretty good restaurants we went to down in the description box as well for you guys, but that would be my advice, is just do your research. Don't just pop into a place just because you think it looks good or whatever. Like, I just don't think you're good. I think in London, you have to really do your research. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the London food. Okay, and then once the conference wrapped up, we actually had 2 full days to keep exploring London and England. So the next day, we actually took a day trip to the Cotswolds, which I loved so much. I definitely wanted to do this, especially because we were staying in London for so long. I kind of wanted to get out of the city and explore more of England. So the Cotswolds is sort of like the English countryside, and it's a region. So it's not like one city that you go to. It's like a region, and then within that region, there are many I was trying to say small, cute, and it came out smute. Okay, there are many small and cute little villages within the Cotswolds. So when I was doing my research about this, I was learning that, okay, if you want to visit just one village, you could do that. But if you want to visit multiple, you're going to need to drive because they're all very like spread out. And I thought, okay, well, I don't think I want to do that because I have driven in Ireland before, which is the wrong side of the road and, you know, all of that. And it's terrifying. And I was like, me and my mom, it's just not going to happen. We're going to get in a crash. You're going to hear about us in the news. We can't do it. We're not going to drive. So our next option was to do a tour. And I said, yes, let's do that. So what we ended up doing is we had to book, first of all, a train from London to the Cotswolds, because there was some, but there wasn't a lot of like tours that leave from London to the Cotswolds, because it's about an hour. Well, it's an hour and a half train ride, but like about 2 hours if you go by car. So it's a lot faster if you go by train. So I found a tour group, and they pick you up at like 9:30 at the train station. So we had a very early morning. We got up, we got on the train, left the train from London Paddington to Morton and Marsh. And so it was about an hour and a half train ride. I will have like train information linked down below, and also the tour that we did. And then the tour picked us up right at the train station. So this was like the easiest, best way for us to see the Cotswolds. And it was a really, really great tour. So the tour was called, I think, just Go Cotswolds. And again, they picked us up at 9:30 in the morning, and we saw, I think it was about five of the villages in the Cotswolds. And it was kind of like, they have multiple tours. Like, this was like the kind of classic Cotswolds tour, like the big stops basically that you want to see. But there is so many tours that you can do in the Cotswolds. There's ones that take you to Bath and Oxford College, and I almost wanted to book that because a lot of Harry Potter was filmed there, so I did want to see that, but we didn't end up booking that. There's also tours if you're a big fan of Downton Abbey, which I am as well. There are tours that take you to the Downton Abbey. So it was kind of hard to pick like which tour would be best for us, but overall, I ended up picking the one that we did because I just felt like you were going to really see the Cotswolds for what they are and see the most unique, cute, and charming villages. So that's why I picked the one that we did. And it was really lovely. So it was like a very nice, it wasn't like a bus. It was like a little van that picked us up. And it was a small group of us. I don't know, maybe like 15 people, maybe 20? Like no more than 20, I would say. And the tour guide drove us to all the spots, and she would give some information, but then you kind of could go off on your own. And then each spot we went to, it was different. It was different on the amount of time that you would get. So like the first place we went to was called Chipping Campden, and we had about an hour there to explore. And there was like a church there, and it was really just like walking around and looking at the village. So we explored that. And then our next stop was called, what was this place called? Like Snow's Hill or something, I think. But we only had 20 minutes there. And it was a lot smaller village. So they kind of like time it out, I guess, based on like how much activities and how much there is to see there. So like Snow's Hill was honestly one of my favorites. It was just so quaint and charming and cute. And we had like I said, about 20 minutes to explore there. And then the next stop was Stow-on-the-Wold, which we had an hour and a half because we got to have lunch, and lunch is not included, so you need to make sure just to budget for that, so that way you pay for your lunch. And yeah, it was really just like walking around, looking at churches, pretty old buildings kind of vibes. I would say my favorite stop was Burton-on-the-Water. It was so beautiful. They kind of called it like the Venice of the Cotswolds because it had this little cute little river flowing in the middle of it, and everyone was out having a picnic, and it was like so picturesque and so cute. And I just really enjoyed this. I enjoyed the tour so much. I think it was a different side of England that you got to see. Like when you're in London, you see, the palaces and the Big Ben and all these beautiful big buildings. But then when you come to the Cotswolds, it's going to be more quaint, charming villages. Like again, kind of the villages that you see in Downton Abbey kind of vibe. And I really enjoyed that part of it. And I feel like this tour was really great because it gave you information, but it also like gave you freedom to go off and explore on your own. So you could really do whatever you want. The only bummer is the time. You don't get a lot of time in spots, and you might find that, oh, I wish I would have had more time in this spot versus this spot. So you are, I guess the negative thing is like you have to follow their schedule, right? So that's kind of like the negative thing about doing a tour. But I will say, like I said, you could drive yourself if you want to. But sorry guys, the camera was about to die, so I had to go plug it in. Okay, what was I saying? Oh, about driving in the Cotswolds. Yes, you could drive in the Cotswolds. And I was talking to someone in our tour group who was actually, they were English, they lived in England, and they said that they don't even want to try and drive in the Cotswolds because parking is a nightmare. There's like no places to park, and the roads are very narrow, and it's just not a great driving situation. So I thought that was really interesting that even from a local, they don't even kind of like to mess around with driving in the Cotswolds just because of the parking and driving situation. So I really do, like I said, the tours are just like the best way to go. The only thing is, you have to like go by their schedule. I think I said this in the Cotswolds vlog. I think what I would recommend if you really think the Cotswolds would be for you and you love that idea of visiting those cute, charming villages, I would recommend booking like maybe one night in one of the villages. So that way, even though you do the tours, you can spend more time in whatever village you really like. So like, for example, if I were to go back, I would say I would want to book a room at Burton-on-the-Water. So that way I do the tours. I kind of go around, visit the other villages. But at the end of the day, I can still like kind of take more time in Burton-on-the-Water and do more shopping and dining and all of that there. So yeah, that's what I would definitely like give my tips on the Cotswolds. But again, if you just want to go for the day, then the day trip was perfect. We were back in London by like 8 o'clock because our tour ended at 5 p.m. but we ended up just having a quick dinner by the train station in Moreton and Marsh and then hopped on the train. So yeah, that was our Cotswolds day. So on our last full day in London, we did visit Kensington Palace, which I really loved. So Kensington Palace is still like within London. I would say it was about, I think we took an Uber there, but it would be still 20-minute to a 30-minute Uber or tube ride to Kensington Palace. And it's just a smaller palace, and it's in a beautiful park in a beautiful garden. It was really funny though, because when we took the Uber, he like dropped us off in a side street, and we were like, where's the palace? And he's like, you have to walk through the park to get to it. So we're like, oh, okay, which felt a little sketch at first, but then we started walking, we're like, oh, okay, I see it. But I kind of like that it wasn't just like, oh, you could just drive up and like drop people off. Like it's like literally like in a park that you had to walk to, and we're walking along and there's just like locals out there just enjoying a day at the park. And I was like, oh, this is just normal for you that there's just a palace right here in your park. Like that's so crazy. So we did have tickets in advance for Kensington Palace. I'll have, again, the Kensington, ticket website linked for you guys in the description box. And once you arrive there, you get checked in and all of that. There are about 3 to 4 exhibits you get to walk through. And they do give you a headset once you arrive, and that's not extra, which I really did appreciate. And the headset and like the audio guide was actually really, really good. So what I really loved about it is it had clear pictures of what room you should be in, and tap the play button, and it would give you about like a minute to 2 minutes of information about whatever room you were in. And then what I really liked is if you wanted to keep learning more about whatever it is, whatever room you were in, you could tap more or you could just tap continue. So I like that because I feel like some people don't love a ton of information overload, but then some people are more curious. Like there are some rooms that I was in that I was like, oh yeah, I want to hear more about this, or I want to know more about this painting on the wall. And you could kind of select that and dive more into it if you wanted to. So I love that option. I thought that was really, really well done. And then the exhibits that you got to walk into, there was like the king's rooms and the king's quarters. So you got to walk on his side and then the queen's quarters. And then they had like a whole section kind of about Queen Victoria, which I really loved. And fun fact, the day we were visiting was actually her 200 and something birthday. So that was super cool. And the people working there told us that they were going to have some talks on her today. We didn't have any time for that, unfortunately, but that would have been really cool to check out. But what I really loved about her exhibit is it kind of talked about her life as a child and then going into like adulthood and then becoming queen. So that exhibit was really cool. So you kind of like saw like her childhood nursery room, and then like, you know, oh, in this room, that's when she became queen. And then like it told more of a story, whereas the other rooms were like, oh, the kings would live in here. Like it wasn't about a specific person, you know, they were just talking about the kings in general that would live there. So I really loved the Queen Victoria part of that. And then I think this exhibit was, or the next exhibit I'm going to talk about is like a temporary exhibit, but it was about the dress codes of the royal family, which I found really fascinating. And in that exhibit, they had a ton of wardrobe, dresses, things like that. And it kind of just talked about the fashion of the royal family, which I thought was really cool. And also, fun fact about Kensington Palace, that's where Princess Diana lives, so they had a lot about her. And in the gardens, they had this beautiful, like, tribute statue to her that actually I think was made in 2021. So it's fairly new, but it's really, really gorgeous. And we spent about an hour and a half in the palace. I would say I felt a little rushed at the end. Like, I would have liked maybe 2 hours personally. But the reason we had to kind of rush is we had a tea party reservation. So I would say hour and a half to 2 hours to explore the exhibits. But then if you want to do like the talks and stuff that they do, I would maybe schedule in a little bit more time. But like I said, we had a reservation to go to, and this was still like within the palace grounds. So we went and had afternoon tea at the palace, which just felt so like London-y of us. And where you go is it's like right in the backyard basically of the palace, and it's called the Orangery, and it's this beautiful brick building, and they have a restaurant in there. And you don't have to go there just for tea. Like you could go there for lunch or breakfast. They serve like a full menu, but we were there because we wanted to do afternoon tea. So our experience was really great because we got there and we were so American of us. We're like, we don't know what we're doing, because they had like a whole tea food menu and then a tea selection, and our waiter was amazing. I'll insert a fun picture of him and us here. He was so good, and he like walked us through the whole process. He's basically like, which was basically like you get to pick out your food. So they're going to give you like the little tea tray. So you have your sandwiches, scones, desserts. They had like different options for that. So you pick that out. And then your tea is kind of like unlimited. Whatever you want to try, whatever you want, we'll bring to you. So that was really, really neat. So we tried some teas that we've never had before. And then also some teas that we had. Like I had to get a vanilla chai, which, oh my God, it was so good. So we started with kind of like a more basic black tea, and then we went to like a more fruity tea. And then we finished with a vanilla chai. But it was a really, really cool experience. I highly recommend it, especially to just say like, oh yeah, I had tea at Kensington Palace. Like, I'm so fancy. Yep. Yeah, I just thought it was a really, really great experience. It was so perfect, like such a perfect mother-daughter experience with my mom. Definitely like a memory I'll always remember. And just the staff was really lovely and really helpful. So once they started serving us our tea, they had a tea master. Yes, a tea master, basically like, for my wine people out there, like a sommelier, and he came by and explained to us like all about tea, which I wish I could remember all of it. But one thing he did teach us was like kind of the levels of tea, and he said you kind of like explain it with your fingers. So level 3 is like closest to the stem. So that's like kind of not the best tea, if you will. And then the second level is more the middle of the leaf, and that's like pretty good tea. And then like the tip of your finger is like the tip of the leaf, and that is the most like exquisite tea that you can get. And he was like, yeah, we don't serve level 1 tea here because it's like ridiculously expensive. He goes, we do level 2 tea. And I could really tell a difference. It was like loose leaf tea. I could tell it was a much, much higher quality than the tea I get at the grocery store, unfortunately. So now I'm kind of like, am I gonna be a tea snob now? And like, I have to get like loose leaf, like really particular tea. I might be, I don't know. The tea I'm drinking right now is just your general grocery store tea, and it's still pretty good, but I think I might want to splurge here and there and get some like really nice tea. But I think that was so nice that he came by and explained that whole process to us. And then, like I said, yeah, we had the 3 different teas, and you could just like kind of flag them down and be like, yeah, I want to try this one. Like, okay, like right up. And they would bring you a whole teapot for that. And then when it started to get cold, they were like, oh, do you want me to go switch it out for you? Like, they were really on top of it. It was really great. Then again, the food we had like little finger sandwiches, scones, and then desserts. The food was nothing extraordinary, again, going back to the food. But the tea was really good. The food wasn't bad, but like, I mean, it's just like little sandwiches and scones and desserts. It wasn't, anything out of this world, but it was a really, really lovely experience. And we sat right by the window and literally looked out at the palace. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of other places in England, of course, that you could do an afternoon tea, and that are probably a little bit less expensive. I forget what the price was. I'll put it down, sorry, at the bottom of the screen. I should have looked that up beforehand. But I feel like this was just kind of, it was like one of those special moments, and it was worth it for us to just like pay a little bit more to kind of do it at the palace while we were there, instead of just kind of doing it at a random restaurant within London. So I really enjoyed that. I really recommend doing a tea experience, and I just loved how they were really informative and just made it more than just like, oh, here's your tea and here's your crumpets and scones and all this. Like, they really made it a really lovely experience. So definitely recommend the tea in London. And then after our little afternoon tea, we kind of went back into Westminster area and just did a lot more walking around because I had been at the conference for 3 days now, so I didn't have a chance to kind of like walk around the area too much. So we walked to like Westminster Abbey, we did a little bit of shopping at the gift shop, took some pictures like at Big Ben and did stuff like that just to kind of kill some time. And then I think we went back to our hotel for a little happy hour and had some wine, and then we had a dinner reservation at a pub that was like literally right down the street. I booked it in advance, and I did not remember it being as close as it was to our hotel, which was a lovely surprise because I was kind of getting tired at that point. I mean, we had been traveling for a week. We'd been in London for a week, so I was kind of, it was getting towards the end of the trip, and I was getting ready to go home. So that was nice that the restaurant was like so close by. We didn't have to go on the tube or take an Uber or anything like that. And we went to a restaurant called, what was this place called? Oh, the Old Shades Pub, and it was a really, really beautiful pub. I felt like, honestly, when we were in there, I felt like there was a lot of locals, which is always a good sign. I feel like I ordered wrong at this restaurant. It wasn't a bad restaurant, but I think I just ordered wrong. I had gotten the chicken schnitzel, and I probably maybe should have gotten like fish and chips, but I had already had fish and chips that week, and I wasn't really feeling it, and I just wanted to try something that I usually wouldn't order. Oh, sorry if you hear my dog barking. Oh, okay, sorry about that. But anyway, yes, about my dinner. So the chicken schnitzel, I love saying that. It was good. It just like wasn't an exciting meal to me. It's kind of bland. That's what it is. Like London food is just kind of more bland. Like I was like, oh, can I get some ranch dressing with this? I didn't say that, but I wanted to. Just because like it was just kind of like a chicken with an egg on top and not a whole lot of flavor. They gave us ketchup, which helped, but I don't know, like maybe just, it wasn't my thing, but I was proud of myself. It's just not like chicken schnitzel is anything out of this world, but I was like, I'm just going to order something that I would never order and just try it. So I'm glad I tried it, and the pub was really fun. It was a really cool place, and for dessert, we did get some, what was this? Oh my gosh, it was really good. It was like a toffee pudding. Yes, that's what it was, with a side of ice cream. That was super good, and I had a Guinness, so it was a big, heavy meal. And it was a really fun time, but again, like, I don't know, my favorite cuisine is like Italian, like pasta or seafood or stuff like that. So I just, maybe it's just me that I'm just not that into British cuisine, but I did like this pub and I would recommend it, so I will have it linked down in the description box, especially for staying at the Royal Horse Guards, because again, it's like a 5-minute walk, so it's so easy to get to. And then lastly, I have 2 other things I want to share with you, and I don't know why I have not brought them up yet because they're actually kind of important. So the first one is the weather in London is very unpredictable, and I'm sure you know that, like, you know, when you think of London, you think of like gray skies, rainy cabs. Oh my God. I literally just quoted a Taylor Swift song, gray sky, rainy cab ride, London boy. If you know, you know. Wow, that's really funny. I just did that. Okay, but yeah, it's so true. Like, London literally will have gray skies. I keep doing it. Okay, London weather is unpredictable and it will rain. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, there was one day where I checked the weather app, and it said it's not raining, and I walked outside and it was raining. And I was like, how does the weather app not know that it's literally raining right now? And London weather doesn't even change day by day. It's almost like hour by hour. So my best advice is to pack layers. Definitely pack your rain jacket and pack your umbrella. For some reason, I did not pack an umbrella, which is so unlike me. I packed 2 raincoats, but like, I should have just packed an umbrella because it would just been nice to have in my bag. That's my advice. Don't forget a rain jacket or an umbrella when you go to London. And when we went, it was end of May, and it was supposed to be like 70 degrees pretty much all week, but there were some chilly days there, and I was glad I did pack some sweaters and all of that. But I would just say, like, it's going to be unpredictable and it will change throughout the day. So whatever you're planning on wearing, just, you know, make sure you have a jacket of some sort would be my best advice. And then the other thing isn't really a tip, but it's just like something that I noticed that was really, really awesome about London. And that was everyone was really, really nice. And I feel like sometimes maybe people that like live in London or England you might think are more reserved or more, I don't know, like kind of like to stay to themselves. But I seriously had so many wonderful, friendly reactions with so many different people who didn't have to be friendly to me. Like, it wasn't like, oh, the doorman at my hotel. Like, yes, he was friendly. But I'm talking about when I was in the tube station, I was looking at the map, just trying to figure out, okay, like, yeah, we need to go to this stop and that stop. And there was a worker there who's like, oh, I want to do a British accent, it's going to be bad, but hello, love, like, what can I help you with? And I was like, oh, like, I'm just looking for this station. He goes, oh yeah. He's like, go on this platform, take this and that, and do that. And I was like, oh, thank you. Like, he did not, like, that was not his job to like tell me where to go, but he went out of his way to help us. And it was like, honestly, really, really nice. And yeah, we just had so many like little interactions like that, which really makes the trip so lovely and more enjoyable, and just honestly made me fall in love with London even more. Just all the friendly and nice people that I met. So again, that's not really a tip, but I did want to share that because I feel like I was kind of telling my mom, because she's a very friendly, like outgoing person. I was like, okay, well, like, British people aren't like that. Like, don't just like, you know, go up and just start chatting with them. Like, they might not like that. You know, you might be like an annoying tourist. Like, don't do that. But honestly, we had the complete opposite experience of what I was telling her we were going to have. We really did, like, people would chat with us, and they were locals, and again, they didn't have to chat with us, but they were just so nice and friendly and very helpful. So that was just like a really awesome part about our trip. Well, guys, that is a recap of our London trip. I hope you enjoyed this video and kind of chatting more about London. If there are any questions at all about London that I did not cover, or if you want any more clarification on anything that I talked about, please drop it down in the comments. I will definitely be sure to answer you guys. And again, anything that I talked about, I will have linked in the description box for you all. But yes, we had such a great trip. And if you've not seen all the London vlogs yet, a little plug here. They will be all out on my YouTube channel now, because this is going to be like the last London vlog. This kind of the recap vlog will recap the whole trip. So definitely check out the vlogs. We had so much fun in London. I loved London so much. I was actually telling my friend the other day, because she was asking me about the trip, and I said, you know, I think London might be like in the top 3 of my favorite European cities that I've been to. And yeah, it's just a really, really beautiful city, so much history. Again, the people were so friendly, and I just had such a great time. So thank you guys for watching this vlog. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you made it all the way to the end, I'm trying to think, okay, what emoji could we drop? Oh, I got a good one. Drop the little guard emoji down in the comments, so that way I know you made it to the end of this video. And guys, don't forget to subscribe, because if you can believe it, we have another trip like now. So the next vlog will probably be, I think I might have like a home vlog, but then we're gonna have a pack with me because we're already going somewhere else. We got a lot of trips this summer, so I can't wait to bring you guys along. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming vlogs. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye!